Welcome to our acrylic painting class on Sunset in Paradise. Please double check that you have all the materials you need to complete this project before you begin. Welcome to Acrylic Arts Academy. We teach the world to paint. Begin by arranging your 8 by 10 inch canvas in the landscape orientation. This implies that the longest sides are on the top and bottom and the shorter sides are on the left and right. In this step, we will be drawing a horizon line. Use a flat edge of any kind to draw a straight line across the canvas about a third of the way up. That's it. This simple line will help us place things around the canvas. Next, we'll create a sky gradient. Here's how to mix sky blue. Mix a bunch of white, we'll call it 3 parts white, and 1 part blue. Whatever amount you use of white, mix 1/3 of that amount of blue into it. Mix these two colors well until you get a similar color to what we have here. Use a flat brush to apply this sky color across the entirety of the top layer of the canvas. You can use a smaller flat brush as we have here, or a slightly larger 1-inch or 2-inch flat brush. It's up to you. Apply this color in a 2-inch strip at the top of the canvas. This doesn't need to be straight across at the bottom. There's no need for perfectionism here. Let's use dark blue and the same paintbrush for this next part. We'll continue to work somewhat quickly to add some darker blue to this color while the previous paint layer is still wet. We are adding some dimension to this blue, so you don't need to mix these two colors together entirely on the canvas. It's okay if it's streaky. Let's use a slightly larger flat brush for this next part. A 1-inch flat brush or a 2-inch flat brush would be perfect. Below this strip of light blue, begin to add white using wide side-to-side brush strokes. Blend upward to soften the edge of this light blue. Clean your brush and set it aside for a moment. We'll be using it again soon. Now we'll need very light pink, which can be mixed by using 2 parts white paint and 1 part red paint. Be sure to mix these colors together well before applying it to the canvas. Use sweeping side-to-side brush strokes to add this color below the blue. Work downward towards the horizon line we drew, but don't meet it yet. Next, we'll need light purple, which can be mixed by using 1 part red, 1 part white, and a dash of blue. Use the same brush to apply this color to the only unpainted part of the canvas above the horizon line. Remember, we're working rather quickly in order to blend these colors together as a lovely, smooth gradient. The next part is somewhat optional, but will really smooth this gradient to a blended finish. Use a clean, dry mop brush, as we have here, and gently swish it over the canvas to gently blend these colors together even more. It's time to let your painting dry before moving on. Take a bit of time to change your paintbrush water and clean your brushes well while you wait. It's time to let your painting dry before moving on. Take a bit of time to change your paintbrush water and clean your brushes while you wait. In the next step, we'll be creating the ocean water. We will need a 1/2 inch flat brush or a 1-inch flat brush and periwinkle blue for this next step. You can mix this color if you don't have it readily available. Use any leftover sky color that you have and add a little more blue to it to create a darker hue than the sky. If you need a reminder, here's how to mix sky blue. Apply this color below the horizon line straight across. Paint with the shade all the way down to the bottom of the canvas. Now we'll switch to a smaller flat brush, any size you like. Using dark blue while this paint is still wet, paint inward from the sides of the canvas to add streaky blue pieces to the water. This will instantly imply movement in the water and will add dimension to the ocean. When painting with this blue, please work from the sides to the center. Flip the orientation of your brush to be flat and wide in order to slice in thinner lines as you see fit. Add as many of these bits of blue as you like in order to make movement in the ocean water. It's time to let your painting dry before moving on. Please also take the time to change your paintbrush water so it's clean for the next step. Now we'll be adding clouds to the skyline. For this step, you'll need a few shades of gray for our clouds. Begin by using pane gray or by mixing your own gray by using lots of white and a dash of black. Mix some slightly varying grays by adding slightly more white to a small portion of the gray you mixed. Mix a slightly darker gray by adding a touch more black to a small portion of the gray that you have created. Begin creating clouds using any brush you like and medium or pane gray. A round brush may be your best choice here. Swirl your brush in small concentric circles to make clouds. Do you need a refresher on how to paint clouds or you're not sure where to start? Click the card in the upper corner of this video to see a quick and helpful tutorial on how to create clouds, and then come back to this tutorial and continue on. Add clouds in these colors across the skyline wherever you choose. Add as many or as few clouds in these shades as you like. Let's continue this method while switching to a lighter gray color to add dimension to this skyscape. It's okay if the colors mix a bit as you work. The paint doesn't need to be dry in between layers for this portion of the painting. Let's keep moving onward by switching to a deeper gray color as we add a little shadow to the underside of our clouds. Get as creative as you like with the rest of the skyline. Add smaller or wispy clouds across the sky, working downward as far as the horizon line. Any combination of clouds is great. For the next step, we'll be painting faraway mountains. For this step, you'll need a darker shade of gray and a flat brush. Either 1/2 inch or 1 inch will work fine. Just above the horizon line, paint a mountain ridge. To do this, flip the orientation of your brush vertically so it's the thinner way. Create a jagged set of mountains by painting varying peaks across the horizon line. Paint with this dark gray color down to the horizon line, just don't paint past the water. Now we'll add a closer looking island. For this part of the painting, we'll be using a 1/2 inch flat brush in the color black. Add a tiny slice of black paint, somewhat centric as we have here. This will only take a moment and serves as a small piece of an island in the middle ground of this painting. Let's add one larger island that will look closer to us. Starting from the left, add a shape that is similar to the mountains that we just made, but use softer, less jagged peaks. Work toward the center of the canvas as you do this. Do not paint all the way across the canvas. Try to keep following along with us. Next, be sure to hold the paintbrush in its wider orientation as we are here. Using a slicing back and forth motion, add thin horizontal lines nearer the center of the canvas and radiating to the right of the image. Do not paint all the way to the right edge though. In this next step, we're going to fill in the shape of the island while taking care to paint the bottom mostly straight across. This will help our island look like it's submerged in the sea. Some jagged variations on the underside are okay and will end up looking natural. Let's add a little more detail by placing some shadows in the water. This part will add some detail to the water and won't take long at all. Use your 1/2 inch flat brush in its widest orientation and some dark blue paint. With a slicing motion, add a few areas of darker water below the islands as we have here. Now let's add palm trees. For this step, we'll use a small round brush or detailer brush and black paint. We're going to add palm trees to both of the islands we just created. Beginning near the back, let's make very small palm trees as delicately as possible. As these trees are smaller, they'll easily seem farther away in the distance. If you are unsure how to paint palm trees, click the card in the upper corner of this video to learn an easy method to paint palm trees and then come back to this video. The general idea is to create a bendy trunk, then radiate curved lines from the top of the trunk, and then paint palms off of each of those lines. If this sounds confusing, simply watch our method illustrated here and then rewind the video to have enough time to paint your own. Continue this process with slightly larger palm trees each time. It will end up looking like they are closer to us. Take your time and pause this video if needed in order to add all the palm trees that you wish to have. As you're working, you will better understand the scale and proportion of these palm trees on each island. Use your creative decision to add as many palm trees in between the basics that we have just placed on the canvas. We are going to add a few more in between the first round of trees in order to fill in the space in the land a little bit more. As we finish this painting up, take a few moments to add any last details to your liking. Don't forget to sign your name or place your initials in one of the bottom corners of the canvas to make this piece your own. Thanks for joining us today. Please subscribe to our channel for more acrylic painting videos like this. Download 2 helpful free guides to help you get started with acrylic painting. Just visit acrylicartsacademy.com/free guides.